Hi YouTube, hi subscribers and viewers. Um, just going to take a moment um, and get started here. We're going to, sorry about the cheesy graphics, but I'm trying something new here. Hopefully it works out. Before I get started, I'm just going to show you, I have various tanks and various fish in my tanks. What I want to do in this video is I want to take a little bit of time, zoom into some of these fish, including some on my other side. And maybe before I do that, I'm going to try and introduce myself. I'm not a pirate, no, but my name is Martin, and this is Max, my parrot. I'm doing this video for anybody new that has not seen my previous videos. It's sort of an introduction to fish if you're looking to get some fish. Maybe get into an aquarium tank if you're interested in starting something like that as a hobby, or maybe for your kids. Most people want to do one for their kids because the kids absolutely love the goldfish and other fish. And I don't have any goldfish. This is Max. He's just kind of going to be going around with us, and he's going to either sit on my shoulder or jump from tank to tank. So I'm just going to put him down on the tank top, and he might jump up even on the camera sometimes, so pay no attention to him. So let's get started. I have a lot of tanks in my house. I have guppy tanks. I have a angelfish tank. I have cichlid fish like Oscars and flower horns, and I have a couple discus I recently received that I'm trying to cure. They're a little bit sick, as well as a lot of tetras and other fish. So getting started, I am going to show you guys. Let me excuse the mess in my place, but let me quickly zoom out and get out of the camera view. So let's get started. Number one on my list. I think I'm going to go from smallest fish to biggest fish in this video. And these are baby guppies. There is a lot of them. So guppies are extremely colorful, extremely peaceful fish. They grow about 2 inches long. I'm not really going to give you a lot of details about the fish. A lot of that you'll have to Google or look up somewhere. But these are they do breed a lot. They have a lot of babies. These fish, so be aware of that. It's one of the more common fish types you will see a fish store sell. And they come in extremely beautiful colors. You can't see that in this video, but I thought I'd show you guys what babies look like. The babies are called fry. So these are guppy fry. Now these guys that are a little bit bigger, you can call them juvenile fish. So that's something I wanted to share. They're always happy. They eat flake food. So you buy these special fish flakes, and what you do is you take your fingers and you smush it up as much as you can to make the fish flakes really, really small. And actually, I might have a little bit of flakes here that I can show you guys. So there is a little bit of flake food on my hands here. It's basically just plankton or some kind of dry veggie stuff. So I have a little hole at the top of the tank, and I just rub my fingers, and they run up and they all start feeding on these little pellets, little flakes that I've just made with my fingers. So that's how you feed the really tiny fish. There's no other secret to it. Let's move on. Next, I'll show you guys number 2 would be, and Max is already looking. He's already looking. And these are adult guppies. So mine are a little bit mixed in some of the tanks, but mostly they're assorted by colors here. So like this is supposed to be my red tank. So the female is not actually the proper female. Sometimes I mix them up. You'll see that in a lot of my other videos. So let's introduce the female first. The one with the yellow tail here is a female guppy. And you can easily tell that by the little triangle just below her belly. When she turns on her side, you'll see that she's got a little triangle. That's where she stores all the baby eggs. Once that triangle is completely full, she's ready to have some babies. That's something you might learn in the future. Now the male guppies, they just dance around the female all day, and they come in different colors. You'll see that in my other tanks. I absolutely love guppies, and they look beautiful in any tank almost. As long as you pick the right fish, and fish don't eat each other. These guys are extremely peaceful. These guys do not eat other fish, other than really tiny fish fry. They're very peaceful. They do eat on the decorations. You'll see a lot of this little green stuff, algae. They will eat algae. Mostly they peck away at it, but again, they eat flake food. That is what we feed them. So there is one female in the back. She's still not quite awake. She's not quite there yet. So I just turned the lights on, and I thought it would be a good time to do this video. So some of the fish might be still a little bit sleepy. And hi Max, we're just gonna go down to tank number 3 here, and we're gonna show you guys some other colorful guppies. See, they look the same, the male and female guppies. They just differentiate in colors and maybe a little bit in shape, but not too different from the other red ones you just saw earlier. So again, these females are actually really big, and some of them have nicer blue colors, some of them have different blue colors. I mean, there's hundreds of color variations, if not thousands and thousands. So let's try another one. I have all kinds here. I have some tiger guppies, some yellow tiger guppies here, and you can see this yellow male here. He looks like some kind of a tiger, and she has a pretty neat tiger tail on her as well. So I actually have this aquarium split into 2, and on the right side I have a whole different kind of red guppies. I have a male that is completely red, mostly red. No black and red, it's just mostly red, and a female there. Now she did have a baby or 2 or 3, and they are in the decorations somewhere. Those are the baby fries, but I can't really locate that. But they do breed quite often, and they can have, like the big females you saw up here with the blue females, they can have up to sometimes 60 babies, or more. up to, I think, maximum of 90 is from what I've heard from people. But yeah, you can average out to 60 once she gets fully big grown like that. Let's move on to a couple other things. This one here are my orange and yellow guppies, and I have several different kinds in here. And as you can see, they are not really into eating the algae. I have to put in my algae eater in there, a fish that actually eats the green stuff. But in this tank, I'm actually, sorry about the glare, in this tank I'm actually trying to go for a more natural feel. I'm putting these little plants in at the top, and they split like crazy. So what happens is, let me show you guys. I'm gonna pick one out so you guys can see these if you've never seen these before. Let's see if I can catch one. Oh. Okay, I think I may. Come on. Which one's gonna show us? Okay, here we go. So this is what it looks like. It's like a little tiny clover, but it isn't. And if the camera did its job properly, I would be able to show you guys. There we go. And at the bottom of it, there is a little root, and once it starts to have two roots or so, the plant will split into two. Oh, look at that. I could actually split that just with my fingers. And they keep on doing that over and over and over. I'm going to put that back in the tank here. There we go. A lot of people in the industry call this a pest, but they still love them. They spread like crazy because of the light. They absorb a ton of light, but look how cool they look swimming at the top. Look at that. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. The fish absolutely love it, and it makes for an enjoyable experience looking at the tank. So let's move down to some other fancy fish here. This is another kind of guppy. This is actually a Moscow guppy, not this one. This is a female I have here. That's a whole different species, but than the Moscow. But the Moscow guppy is pretty much all black with a little bit of green. It's absolutely amazing. And you can see I have all my vegetation at the top again, and when there's a lot of it, it looks absolutely spectacular. And if I was a fish, I would really enjoy that. So I'll quickly show you another guppy here. I have a white guppy and his female. I'm trying to breed these, and I think this one just about had some little babies too. But I'm trying to get these two guys to produce some more white guppies. White guppies are quite rare for me to get. So, and this is an apple snail. He's absolutely huge, and he actually cleans algae quite well. That's why I have him in that tank. Let's show you a couple more guppies really quickly before we go away from all the guppies I have. But if you're enjoying looking at the different kinds of guppies, here's some black ones. They're called black tuxedo guppies. So anytime you see these black, some black in the middle torso section, that's a tuxedo guppy. So these are just nice little black ones, and I have one more tank here with guppies, and these guppies are my own that I've bred and tried to keep together, and these don't have a red spot on them. They're just mostly silver and black. So that's it for the guppies. Let's move on to one more tank. These fish are called angelfish. Now they come in different colors. They come in black. They come in white. You'll see them at the pet store. They're not that expensive. They come in different sizes. Usually the little guys are roughly that size when you get them for like $3 or $4, and then they can grow up to this size, and they do get aggressive. Not towards humans, but towards other fish. They do get quite aggressive. They can bite other fish. They can kill other fish. And I think the black ones to me are the most aggressive ones out of them. So out of the different colors, but they are nice to have. Unfortunately, they needed a tank of their own because they were too aggressive for me to keep with my other fish. You will see once we move over to the other tank. But I thought I'd show you guys what a real angelfish looks like. These guys do not actually breed live fish like the guppies. The guppies will breed live little babies. These guys will lay eggs, and they will usually lay eggs on a piece of glass or on a piece of slate. They love to lay eggs on slate, and then they take care of them. They give them air, and eventually they have up to like 300 little babies at a time. So they breed out quite a bit. They have quite a bit of young if you have a breeding pair. Let's move on. And let's just say, hi Max. Hello. Let's move on and show them the other fish now, Max. Let's go. Let's go. So I'm just going to flip this camera around. I'll take you to my two big tanks that I really want to share because I have a lot of fish in here. So we started with the smallest guppy fish, and now we saw some angelfish. And we're going to go into some medium-sized fish here. These are very common fish that you will see in a lot of fish stores here. So let me do that. And I am sorry about the camera work. I'm trying, and I'm hoping this video will work out. And if not, we'll have to figure something else out. But in this tank, I've got some of these red tetras. These guys look red, and you think maybe they're aggressive fish. They're really not. I haven't seen them really fight any other fish. Neither are their friends that look like them, except they're black. They're pretty good. They're not that aggressive. A lot of them have names, but I'll just call them tetras because they lay eggs. And they're really fast fish, and they sort of look alike. And you'll see some other fish I'll show you guys here. Maybe I should start with the tetras first. Let's look at a couple other. These are these little yellowfin tetras in the back there. There it is. And they swim nicely in the group. They're a little scared because I'm pointing a camera at them. So that's a little yellow tetra. And another little black tetra here. This is a long fin one. This one is a little bit more aggressive, I find, than the shorter fin ones. For some odd reason, I'm not sure, but he likes to show off, and he doesn't want anybody to bite his tail. As you can see, the back fin of his is split into two. Someone actually bit him and did that to him. Now these fish actually repair themselves. Most fish will repair their fins. They're very, very good about that. And there's a couple other tetras up here. These are fast swimmers. They're like, they swim in groups and they just fly from one side of the tank to the other and back and forth. Before I want to show you guys this discus. Now he's not exactly doing great right now because I just got him and he's malnourished and a little bit sick. So I'm trying to um, heal him, and he's a blue discus, and he actually had some really nice colors a few minutes ago. And I think I have another friend of his just hiding underneath there. And these two guys are usually a little harder to keep. They're not something for beginners because they like really clean water and really good pH levels. So you have to look all that up if you're interested in having fish. What pH levels are, you'll have to look that up. You'll have to look up what you need, like an air pump. Where you see in my tank, there's always air pumping. I do that in all my tanks, even the little tanks that sometimes people don't put them in for guppies. But I definitely say every tank needs an air pump, and you always need a filter. So hidden behind this big decoration, this big wooden decoration, is a pipe that goes to a filter that hangs off the back of the aquarium. And I actually have a different filter here that actually is stuck with these suction cups to the inside of the tank. That's a choice of mine. I've gone with two filters here, and the big silver fluval in the back, that is actually a heat source. You'll need one of those as well. What that does is it heats up the water for you so that these fish feel comfortable and thrive. Now, seeing that there's so many fish here, I'll go over a couple of them and try and zoom in to some of them for you. Now, these red guys are extremely common, just like the guppies. They're called swordfish. Now, this is a female swordfish, and the males, they can be green, they can be red, all red. They have a sword on the back, so they actually will fight other fish with that little sword. That's how you know it's a swordfish. These little black fish here, they're platies. Just like the swordfish, they actually interbreed sometimes, the platies with the swordfish. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes makes for a nice fish. And these bigger yellow ones, you'll see these big yellow ones, they are famous for actually coming in a black color like this. They don't have any, well, he's really fast and big. They don't have any swords or anything like that, but they're pretty powerful for a nice, gentle community fish. They don't really fight these fish I've been showing you so far. They're pretty nice and gentle, but these guys, the mollies, the platies, and the swordfish, they breed a lot, quite a bit, almost as much as the guppies. But the guppies are definitely number one. If you ever have a male and a female guppy, within 3 months, you're probably going to have little babies in your tank. Now, saying that, other fish can actually eat your little babies, so watch out when that happens. What else do we have in this tank here? If I zoom in, there is the big yellow fish you just saw. The big yellow fish is I think it's called an Asian algae eater. Now these fish can actually grow quite big, and they do like to hide sometimes, but they're not that shy. But you can always return fish if they grow too big for you. You can always return them to the store. And I'm sorry about shaking the camera so much, but Max, my parrot here, is really trying to get into the video again. So let's move on and show you something else that's really, really cool. Oh, before we do that, there's that algae eater. So he's got a suction cup for a mouth, and he just eats all this green stuff, this stuff called algae. And he's kind of funky looking, sort of like Yoshi from Nintendo. Oh, another little fish. I'll show you this guy before he runs away. I have 3 of these guys in my tank. It's taken me a while to get the tank prepped for these guys. These guys are hard to keep in the tank. They're called ram fish, blue rams, red rams. They're a little bit of a cichlid. They grow twice as big as that. These guys are still little babies. And they are a bit aggressive. They lay eggs, but they're absolutely beautiful to look at when they swim. They're people absolutely love these fish in their tank. So maybe one day you will have one. So these guys here with the black stripe, these guys are catfish. Now I have all kinds of different kinds of catfish in my tank. I actually have 12 or more different kinds of catfish in my tank. That's actually one of the bigger ones I have. But if I scroll down, not scroll down, but look down here, you guys can see this other kinds of catfish and another little ram fish here. And there's a catfish in the back. And they're all over this. And the reason why is because I have live plants. Oh, there's one trying to squeeze through the grass there. The reason for this is because I'm trying to clean up all the bottom. When I feed these guys food, it'll drop on the bottom. And sometimes these fish are too lazy to eat all the stuff that drops, all the dirt and things like that, all old food. Now these algae eaters and these catfish, they will eat that up. So let's see what else we have here that I can show you. I actually have a guppy in here too. Here's a guppy compared to the other fish. Now this is actually a different guppy. It's a split tail guppy. And here's a female with a yellow tail. And right beside her is this big fish called a betta fish. Now this is a female betta fish. And I also have an absolutely beautiful male betta fish here somewhere. Now these fish are different than the rest of the fish. You can go to a pet store and you will see these fish in little tiny bowls. And they come in all kinds of different colors. And the reason for that is they don't need to, they have a different lung system. They just get their air for every, I don't know, 20, 30 minutes. They have to swim up, or maybe an hour, to the top and grab some air. So that's why the betta doesn't even need the airflow. But most fish actually need the airflow. Unless you have a lot, and I mean a lot, of plants in your tank. Then you can get away without having some airflow. But in our case, I always want to keep some airflow going. Let's see. I have some of these flying fish. I remember some pet stores used to call them flying fish, these guys. They're like a little whale, but it's really a flying fish. They're just a tetra. They are non-aggressive whatsoever. They have the tiniest mouth, and they are really cool to have. And somewhere in the back, you guys saw my betta fish. Where did he go? Where did he go? Did I miss him? Where is he? Oh, if he comes around, I'll show you guys again. Oh, before I do that, here's a red male swordfish. So he's just like the green guy, except he's a little guy. And I have a little shark, redfin shark here. This guy does grow up to about 5 inches. He can be a nuisance. Sometimes he does bite fish, but he doesn't. I don't think he'll kill the fish, but he might damage a fish here or there, split a tail, something like that. You never know. They're a little bit more aggressive. These guys with the triangles are really nice little tetras. They're called Rasbora tetras. And these guys swim in usually a group of 5 or 6. You want to have 5 or 6 of these little triangle guys. Rasboras. They're absolutely peaceful fish. Not 100% durable. If you're a real beginner, maybe give it a couple months before you get those guys. They are a little bit fragile. I don't have. They swim well with neon fish. Oh, there's the beta in the back. There's the beta fish. So I actually keep a beta in here, and this is what a beta looks like. And that was his female that I showed you guys earlier. And this is a peach beta, kind of a really cool beta I picked up. So let's zoom out again. There's the discus. He's starting to get some color back. I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see at some point. He should be blue, but I'll show you guys that later. Let's see. What else? Have we missed anything? Yes, we have. Okay, there is a Daniel fish. This is one of the fastest swimming fish. They're like the little guy in the back with the stripes. They come with long fins like this one, and they come with short fins. They also come in pearls, like little spots on them versus lines, but they're really cool fish. They usually swim together in like maybe 10 of them together or 9 of them together is like a good number to have. They're really cool. Let's see what else we have. There's a tetra here that I have. It's looks like a neon. You'll see in the store that there's these blue and red fish. They're just like this one. This is a black one. Just slightly different variation, and they're extremely peaceful fish, and they go great with the rasboras, the ones that are red and blue that you will get in the store. They're really cool fish. So I think we've gone over just about every fish in this tank. So we'll move on to the big fish next. There's a couple other fish actually. Let me just show you guys this big guy in the back. You see there's something there with a red tail. Looks like that red tail shark, except it's all silver. And I don't think I can show you guys because it's more of a night fish. I can only show you like half the fish right in the back there. But he's basically a loach. He looks like this guy here, which is the Asian pleco, except a little bit of more of a triangle head to him. And those night guys, they actually eat snails. Believe it or not, they will clean snails for you. Another thing I have here, the lighting is really bad, but I have this shrimp in my tank. Now, shrimp don't normally go with fish because they have claws, and they will catch the fish and they will eat the fish. So neither do lobsters. Do not get a lobster for your tank either. But this is called a rock shrimp or a wood shrimp for some of the some different kinds, and they have these little umbrellas for their arms, and they're absolutely peaceful. They do not have claws that they use to attack fish or eat dead fish. They actually just eat the little flakes that float around or some debris that floats around in the tank. So that's it. I think I've got all of the fish in my tank here. Let's move on. to the other tank. Now get ready for some big fish, guys. These guys are called cichlids. And I'm going to zoom out a little bit and excuse the glare. And I'm going to kind of come up here a little bit closer. So I'll start with a couple common cichlids, or this white female here. And the male you saw swimming in the back, he's like red. They're a little bit more common, not that expensive. But these fish, you do not want to keep any of these fish in this tank. You do not want to keep with any of the smaller fish. They are predators. This is a predator tank. These fish get aggressive. They fight. They can kill each other. And some of them are really cool. So I'll show you some types. This is a little green terror baby. Now he actually grows to about 10-12 inches plus, I think. In the back, as you guys have seen, is an Oscar fish. They are so nice and cute when you buy them in the store. And they're cheap. But they grow up to 18 inches long. This one is only about 10 inches almost. 9.5, 10 inches. His name is Benjamin. And you'll see him in almost every of my other videos. This is, I think it's some form of a jewel cichlid. So let's move on to another one, which is this zebra. Actually, he grows really huge. He may outgrow the 18 inches of the Oscar fish in time. And they grow quite chubby. So these guys fight a lot. You'll see in some of these guys have split tails, split fins. That's because they fight. And mostly in my tank they're peaceful. But some of the more aggressive ones you want to be careful about are like these guys. This is actually a female flower horn. Now, she kind of looks normal, and she'll grow a little bit, quite a bit bigger. I'm not exactly sure if she tops out at 8 inches or 20 inches. I don't know, but she has a male in this tank as well. Now, he's currently hiding right in behind there. See that guy? Right behind the glare. Let me see if I can get rid of the glare. Right there. See that guy in the back? He's got this big bulge on the top of his head.